There's nothing you can know that isn't known, nothing you can see that isn't shown, nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Hey, everyone. Hello. This video is about wishful thinking syndrome. Let's take a look at this image. It reveals a lot. Head in the clouds. Some white birds. Kind of look like white doves in a way. I'm not sure what those are. Could be white doves. Dreaming of a tree of life. Daydreaming. You might take that to mean only seeing the good in this realm. Only focused on that, eyes closed to the rest. Not seeing anything else. Not seeing the darkness. Not seeing the darkness of this realm, just being focused only on the good. A lot of people live that way in this realm. They're focused on the good. Not just the good in this realm, but the good in their life. The good they can see. They'll talk about being positive. Some of the most toxic, abusive, narcissistic beings, self-centered and selfish beings I've ever known, and abusive beings, including ones that are abusive in their marriages, have been like that, telling everyone else, just focus on the positive, don't talk about that. They bury everything, they suppress it, they don't want to hear anything that's true about this realm, and then it builds up in them, and then they explode, and they throw these tantrums, they get triggered, they have rage, full of rage, but on the outside they pretend to be just these wonderful beings. They pretend that they only see the good in this realm, and they only want to see and think and hear about what's nice and comfortable and good. You know, they want to see the realm the way that it isn't. They're trying to make it into something that it is not. It is not this paradise or this beautiful place of peace and calm and pleasure and goodness. It just isn't. This realm isn't that way. They wish it was, but they're not living in reality. They're living in denial. They have wishful thinking syndrome. It's a way of avoiding. It's an avoidance strategy. It's a kind of denial. It's a way of going through life with either a blindfold on or blinders. They call them blinkers, I believe, in the UK, that they put on horses where they can only look straight ahead. They can't see to the side at all. No peripheral vision whatsoever. It's restricted. It's limited. Look at this dark image here. So a lot of people in this realm would look out their window and they don't want to see darkness. They don't even want to see the dark of night. And if they see that, they immediately say, well, it's going to be light tomorrow. The sun will be out tomorrow. And they start singing. They go into this weird thing, like it's almost like, well, some YouTubers, some New Agers and Jack Talcott, and it's all about love, man. It's all love. And they avoid looking at the full spectrum of what's really going on in this realm. And it's not about being fatalistic. It's not about being quote unquote negative, which is one of their favorite labels to try to box people in with. They want to put people in a box and say, well, you're negative if you see the darkness in this realm. Well, I do see the darkness because it's there to be seen, not because I'm quote negative or anything else. It's there whether I live or not. If I didn't exist anymore, if I took myself out of this realm, it would still be there. They want to look out their window and pretend and just see this. This is wishful thinking syndrome. There could be a war outside their window. There could be the skies sprayed. There could be anything outside their window. And they want to have a view like this. They wish it was like this. So they don't want to look at it because they're not strong enough to look at the realm as it truly is, to face reality as it truly is. They're not strong enough to do that. So they prefer illusions. They prefer wishful thinking syndrome. They prefer to pretend. They're the great pretenders. They live in denial of where they are and what this realm is. They don't want to face the truth of this realm. This is a hell realm. That's why demons on other channels will mock me, saying hell realm, and all this stuff. And they're just mockers. They're just low-level demons. They can't debunk my model. So that's all they can do is mock and over-talk me and try to shout me down. That's all they can do because they don't have a valid argument. They don't have a valid argument to debunk me. There's no way to debate demons because they have nothing. They have nothing. That's all they can do is ad hominems and shout over and repeat and try to annoy. That's all they can do. They're functioning at a very low level. There's a lot in this realm that will say, don't you see the beauty, man? The beaches and the sunsets. Oh, I do. I've seen many. I've taken pictures at various oceans, beaches on the ocean, and beaches on the Great Lakes, various Great Lakes, and sunsets, and other lakes outside of the Great Lakes region and different states and provinces. I've seen sunsets in many different states and provinces, in the United States and in Canada and in Mexico. I do see the beauty. There are beautiful sunsets in Santa Monica and Newport Beach, San Diego and Huntington Beach, Venice Beach years ago in California, and in Florida, the Gulf region of the United States, and in Mexico and Cancun and various places. I do see the beauty, but the whole realm isn't a sunset. Life isn't a beach, and it isn't just a bitch either. And it isn't just death and taxes. It's more than that. It's a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit darker. But, there might be 10% beauty, 5% beauty in this realm, but it definitely isn't close to 50%. It isn't balanced. It isn't half and half. It isn't half light, half dark, half good, half evil. It's not even close to 50-50 or being balanced. It's not equal. It's not balanced whatsoever. Most in this realm, most beings suffer all the time. Every week, maybe not every hour or every minute of every day, but there's millions and millions and millions here suffering a lot, all the time, that people don't even notice. Just because you don't notice they're suffering doesn't mean that they're not suffering. Just because you don't notice the tons of blind people around in this realm doesn't mean that they don't exist. Here's another one. Just meditate, just breathe. Take in the beauty, right? Take in the beauty. It's stunning beauty. Forget all the rest. Well, isn't that wishful thinking? Isn't that dishonest? That doesn't strike me as a truth seeker or as a being that values truth, that cares for truth, that appreciates the truth enough to really face light and dark, to face the full spectrum. To say to oneself, I'm going to look at this realm with a critical eye, and I'm going to observe it no matter what I see. And I'm going to look at what really truly exists here in the way that it's designed. I'm going to look at this with wonder and with courage and with curious and honest spiritual eyes. I'm going to look and I'm going to face it. Whatever it is, whatever it turns out to be in this realm, I am going to face it. Like the weak cannot do, like the dishonest cannot do, like the New Agers cannot do because they just want it to be good and fluffy and warm and cozy and hugs and kisses and euphoric and like a drug high or something like weed. They just want it to feel good. And the truth doesn't always feel good. It's often dark. It's often painful. It can sting. It can stink too. It can stink. It can reek. It can sting. It can be hurtful. It can be painful. It can be difficult. It can be depressing. It can cause you anxiety. It can be something that takes real strength to get through. Real strength. A spiritual spine. It can take a lot at times to face what this place really is. Or you can choose this path. You can close your eyes and you can pretend that it isn't this way. You can pretend it's a wonderland, that it's a fairy tale, that it's wonderful, that it's a movie. It's just like a Hollywood movie. It's all good. Or in the end, it's all good. It's just fake. It's just a play. You can pretend if you want to. This is a coping mechanism. This is Stockholm Syndrome. Sometimes I call it Stockholm Syndrome for slaves. Or wishful thinking syndrome. It's avoidance of a reality. It's turning away. It's burying one's head in the sand and saying, I prefer not to look at the truth. I'd rather be comfortable with the illusions. That's what many in this realm do. Many. You can spot them if you work on this. It's not hard. After you've done it for a while, you'll be able to do it. And then there's the other ones. But see how dark this place is, and see how sinister it is, and malevolent, and evil. There's evil in this realm, built into this realm, into the design. Not just evil people, so don't misunderstand, and don't try to limit it to people. I'm not limiting what I'm saying by this realm. There's evil in the design. It's not just the beings walking around on two legs. There's evil in the design of this realm. It's designed to cause or create suffering and pain and torture. Built into the design here. It's designed to feel alien to people, or not people, but spirits like me. That's what I meant to say. And it does. It feels like an alien realm. I'm not from here. This is not my home. And then there's the New Age. They'll say that the truth has to feel good, and they just want to focus on what feels good. And they'll say they're manifesting a beautiful realm, and it's all feeling better because they're not thinking of anything dark, and they're not looking, but they're just avoiding all the suffering beings here. They're turning a blind eye to suffering. They're not being honest about what exists here. They're pretending it doesn't exist. That's all they're really doing. And there's people with a great capacity that's very strange, but it does happen, where they could be in a room with somebody screaming and they'll just block it out. Tortured, they could be moaning to death, and they'll just say, silence that person, because they don't want to face that they're suffering all around them. This has even been demonstrated or shown in movies and in scientific experiments. They'll try to tune out the other person's suffering and pretend it away. Pretend it isn't happening because they can't deal with it. They're not strong enough to face it. They're not strong enough to face the darkness, face how dark this realm is. We're in a dark place. We're in a confusing place. We're in a complex realm. No matter how many people keep saying it's simple, it's simple, it's simple, nobody that I've ever come across or read or heard of or seen in videos has been able to show or prove that this is simple. No one. A lot say it. A lot of New Age types say how simple it is. Show me how simple it is then. Show me. Because I don't think it's simple. I think it's more of a complex, confusing labyrinth in a hall of mirrors, full of lies, full of illusions and rabbit holes going every which direction, with gatekeepers and shills and puppets and deceivers, and it's everything but simple. It's very complex and very confusing and riddled with lies and riddles, and confusion and deceptions and illusions and liars and demons, actual dark beings, diamonds, entities, succubus in dreams, you name it. entities that steal our dreams, modify our dreams, hack our dreams, try to hack into our consciousness and fuck with us in so many ways. Emotionally, mentally, in psychic ways. There's so many attacks in this place. So much mockery of truth and truth speakers. It's constant in this realm. It's never ending in this place. It never ends here. This is an interesting image. I don't believe in ball planets, of course, but I wanted to see what fake AI would come up with a certain command prompt. The colors and tones are alright, they're kind of pleasing. But there's something weird about the way that it makes ravens. They're kind of lifeless a lot of times. More than 50% of the time, they just seem dead to me. They don't seem, I don't know. They seem spiritless. And I like art and life with spirit and passion. And it's lacking in this. Just is. Anyway, we're in a dark place. I've always felt a presence watching in this place. A dark, sinister presence that's not a good, kind, loving God that cares about us. Not a father or a motherly God, or not a father and a mother like Chiron the Lost used to preach. The Holy Mother and Holy Father, all that stuff. Not at all. I've never sensed that in this realm. And it's never been demonstrated. I've never seen any evidence of it in this realm. Never seen the evidence for that. Show me the evidence, man. Show me the evidence for it. I've never seen the evidence for that in this realm. But I like some of these silhouette images. We are in a dark place. We're in a very, very dark place. This is a dark realm. It's far more dark than light. So people do a lot of mental gymnastics to try to pretend that this is a great place or a place full of joy, full of love and abundance and care and love and fantastic goodness. They're pretenders. They pick out little things and they isolate it like, oh, this is good. And I'll nod and agree and say, yeah, that's a nice view. That's a nice marina view, harbor view, mountain view, sunset view over the ocean, whatever it is, beach. Yep, that's a nice view. Forest. Wow, I like that view. Do you have anything else? It's pretty surface deep stuff for the most part. Love of pets, yes, that love can feel deep and real. Love of a girlfriend or a wife or a child, if you have children of your own, sure. It can be a great bond or connection. But what does that have to do with this realm or God? Like, couldn't that be coming from us? Other than a couple picturesque views that people can present. Some, let's say, beautiful looking places. Big deal. That can be an illusion just set up to say, well, it's not all hell. It's not completely harsh or brutal or all suffering all the time. Great. Of course, it would be too obvious if it was 100% pain, suffering, torture, unusual punishment, confusion, struggle, nightmares, starvation, disasters, and diseases, and deformities, and disabilities. It would be completely fucking obvious if it was 100% that. They have to throw you a bone and pretend a little bit, right? You can't have everybody crawling around on the fucking ground scrounging for scraps and tell people it's paradise. You might go, well, what the fuck? Like, we're struggling every fucking day and starving, all of us. It might be obvious at that point, right? They might have to try to trick you a little bit. That's where the trick comes in this realm. It's a torture chamber and a prison and a Truman Show without walls. What do I mean by that? Most people say it's not a prison because they don't see the walls and fences and barbed wire and the guards. But they're around you. But here, the guards don't just try to stop you from leaving. They trick you. They don't do that in real earth prisons. They just rely on physical security means. The locks, the doors, the bars, the thick walls, the gates, the barbed wire, the alarm systems. The guards watching. But the guards aren't instructed to trick the inmates all day long into believing that they're not in prison and mind control them and brainwash them. Prison doesn't work that way. They rely on the physical security. In this place, they don't rely on that. They rely more on mind control and false religions and false education, false government, false media, false everything here is designed to warp your mind and to degrade your spirit. It's all set up that way in this realm, to mind fuck you and spiritually degrade you and eat you. Eat your spirit alive. That's what this place is designed. It's not just designed to have physical security to hold you in that way. It doesn't rely on the physical because you're not really in a physical place. You have a meat suit body, but you're in something that's a matrix. So trickery, deception, illusions are what keep you here, not physical security like a fence or a wall or some concrete physical type of security system. Do you get what I'm saying? Anyway, I hope this makes sense. I hope this makes sense to you. I hope it sinks in deeply. This isn't easy. This isn't easy stuff to digest. Some people might feel queasy or sick when it finally hits them where they are. This is a hell realm. This is a dark place. You'd have to be a Stockholm Syndrome slave to want to stay here or to want to repeat this, to want to come back to this, to want to be reincarnated, to want to do this again and again and again, and to believe that this is a school or that you're learning or that you deserve this or there's karma or you deserve to come back. You'd have to be a slave, beaten down, to believe that or to want that. You'd have to be. You'd have to be a Stockholm Syndrome slave to not want freedom. I want freedom more than anybody that I've ever known in this place. Anyone. I've never known someone personally that wants freedom the way that I do, or that even conceives of it, or ponders it, or thinks about it, or daydreams about it, or is trying to figure out a way to achieve it, to get freedom. I've never known anybody as passionate about that as me. I don't just mean physical freedom. All forms of freedom, spiritual freedom. I hope that you enjoyed watching this. I hope you get passionate about freedom. I hope you do, for your sake. For your sake. I hope you develop that and want it and choose it. Choose freedom. Choose freedom. I hope that you do.